So my name is Jonas. I'm the founder and CEO and also a mentor at Atlas Academy. We're an organization based in Lithuania, but we function across Europe and we help students. We mostly specialize on helping students get into the top universities in the United States and Western Europe, but we also help them better navigate different opportunities throughout their high school years and make sure they're taking advantage of all the wonderful opportunities such as the UWC program, Flex, and so on that exist out there. And I'm joined today in the presentation by Marcus, who is a former student of mine from Lithuania. And, a dear friend now that he's graduated on to college, and he's somebody who also later became a teacher of mine, in a way, teaching me computer science. So, it's a great relationship. And Marcus is somebody who went to UWC, so he'll share a little bit more about that. Meanwhile, I'll talk more about also my UWC experience, but more about, in general, how these programs benefit students and also shorter alternatives that exist that you can take advantage of during the summers. So let's get right into it. Let me share my screen. Now, hopefully everybody's seeing the PowerPoint. Let me know if there are any issues or if somebody has a problem with either the sound or the video, but if everything's good, let me just hop into the slideshow. So basically, these exchange programs are a wonderful opportunity to step outside your comfort zone and learn. So you're thrust into a new environment that's completely unfamiliar, and that is usually the recipe for the most amazing personal growth you can have. It's also a great opportunity to develop one's English skills and challenge oneself academically. So both Flex and UWC are pretty rigorous. The IB diploma program is wonderful in how it dives deeper into subjects, how everything is in English. And again, that's helpful not only for developing yourself, but making sure you're ready for college admissions down the line. It's also an opportunity to make new friends from, just a vast variety of different cultures, whether, again, you go to the United States for a year's program like Flex or Assist or something like that, and you're usually, in the melting pot of cultures, which is the US, and have people from all over, and especially, and this is pretty extreme end of the spectrum, I guess, is UWC, where they take a couple of students from each country, and that not only makes for an interesting experience, but a much richer learning environment. I'm sure Marcus will agree. When you're sitting in a history class and discussing the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, for example, and you have people from both countries debating and presenting their sides to the story, that is just a very, very enriching and wonderful experience. And, there are many more examples to how this manifests itself, not only in history, but in a variety of different classes you can take. And then finally, as mentioned before, colleges do recognize these programs, especially programs like UWC. They know how rigorous they are. They know that these students have gone through a multicultural experience and have proven that they can adapt well in new environments. And whether it's universities in the United States, universities in the United Kingdom, or elsewhere that you're applying to, these are going to add extra points to your application in most situations. Now, my UWC experience is that I first heard about the program when I was applying to Assist, which is a similar program to Flex, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it basically sends you out for a year at a high school in the United States. And I think it's important to approach these programs with a healthy mindset, knowing that they are very selective. And usually, at least in Lithuania, you have a few hundred students competing for a handful of places and scholarships. In Germany, in China, in other countries, the competition is even more intense. So if you're competing with some of the top students in your country, it's pretty natural that you're not necessarily going to be, making into every one of these programs. And it's important that you're persistent in trying. And so that was my story exactly. I applied in 10th grade to Assist. I didn't make it, but in the final rounds and interviews, I get to know this girl who is applying to UWC next year, and she tells me all about it. And eventually she was another candidate who got into UWC later on. So even if you don't get in, it's worth trying just because you're going to get to network and meet great people. And there's going to be other benefits through going through this admissions process. I ended up going to UWC Dilijan in Armenia. So that was exciting and a nice change of scenery, mountains. Not sure how about Latvia, but I'm guessing that the landscape is pretty similar. You don't have a lot of mountains as we do, or we don't in Lithuania as well. So that was a really wonderful experience where I got to make amazing friendships with teachers and peers, and it was nothing like the education I got back home. Even though I was fortunate enough to attend a really good high school here in Lithuania, I think this approach that they take in UWC in particular is very special. And of course, every teacher has their own different style, but it's usually a pretty democratic system, discussion-based, pretty small seminar type classes. So, this really, I think, sent my education to the next level. I really enjoyed the IB, so instead of studying 10 to 15 subjects, as you probably do in the Latvian system, as we do in the Lithuanian system, I studied 6 subjects, 3 of them at a higher level, so going even more in depth. And I think the skills that the International Baccalaureate develops, so your writing, speaking, analysis, critical thinking skills in English, are really what college is going to look like and what probably your professional life is going to look like down the line. So I would say it is, in some senses, perhaps a superior academic system to most countries' national curricula. So, that really, I think, again, enriched me as a thinker, and as a result of really studying hard, which I think you should definitely do while at these programs, because there's a lot of temptation also to party and spend your time, otherwise. But if you do study hard, potentially that's going to lead to benefits applying to universities down the line. And now I'm part of the UWC Alumni Network, which is an experience in itself. It's very helpful in many different ways. So usually if I'm at business conferences, investing events, I'll meet quite a few people who come from the UWC background, and we're already going to have a common shared experience that's just going to make this interaction a lot smoother. Also, when traveling, you now have, as an alum of UWC, friends virtually everywhere, right? So if I decide to go to Havana, Cuba, a pretty remote place, I'll just message the group, and usually there's going to be 10 people messaging me back saying, oh, I live there, or I'm from there, would love to host you, would love to show you around. And this sort of hospitality, extends all throughout, again, simply because you attended this network. So I think part of your UWC experience really starts when it's over, paradoxically. And many other kind of opportunities, advantages down the line. Also, you get with friends who are former UWCers to create projects together and to give back to communities, help the world, and have an impact as the UWC mission teaches. And I'll pass over to Marcus, who can, share his experience and take up the whole journey.
Hello, can you hear me? All right, yeah. So my name is Marcus, and I first heard about Atlas Academy from my parents when they read an article online. At first, I was a little hesitant because I'm a little introverted and like to do my own stuff. But after the first day, I really found out the strength in talking to people that have gone through this process and know how it goes. It was especially helpful in writing the essay. The ability to bounce off ideas was especially helpful in writing an essay that's not just fun to read, but also one that includes all of my strengths as an applicant. Throughout the process, I got to talk to a lot of people from Atlas, and it really helped develop well-rounded skills in a lot of areas, such as politics and philosophy, that I was not that knowledgeable beforehand. As well as that, it helped me develop confidence in talking to people. And since this was my first big interview in life, it helped build me confidence and as well as interviewing skills. But the process did not end there, because I was able to develop strong friendships with people from Atlas Academy, and I was able to work in different internships and other group projects that were really exciting. As well as that, after my UWC experience, they were really helpful in my application to my next step, which was university. So for UWC, I went to UWC Southeast Asia, which is located in Singapore. And from the very first day, I got to see a lot of, or experience a lot of unexpected things. I keenly remember meeting this guy in a dress, which you can see in the photo. And I eventually became roommates with him, and now we're best friends and talk and chat to each other almost every week. Also, the big thing that I liked about studying in UWC was the IB program, which compared to my Lithuanian program has a lot of new interesting topics. Especially I liked film. Being able to record and edit films with my peers from my boarding house was really fun and keen experience. I also had a lot of opportunities to share my passion, which is primarily computer science, with others. I was able to teach students about programming in Python, but as well as that, I was able to become a coach in swimming, which I never expected to be. As well as that, I found a lot of new hobbies, such as rock climbing, and we got to try out scuba diving in a pool. And now 2 years later, I've gotten through 2 scuba diving courses, and I'm really excited to do more.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marcus. So I'm guessing it was a wonderful experience for you, as it was for me and so many other students, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. We cannot recommend the UWC movement enough, I'm thinking, and this is something you should definitely, take a shot at. So moving on now, in case, you, for whatever reason, you're not willing to commit to a program that's 2 years long, or don't want to go, to other countries than, let's say, the US and so on, there are opportunities that you can definitely take advantage of. And I think these are opportunities that might not have been presented earlier on and might prove helpful to you in your journey. So there are basically summer pre-college programs that you can take at some very fine, renowned universities. So these are usually shorter in duration, usually 2-3 weeks over the summer. They can be longer, they can be shorter, depending on your interest. And then they're also flexible in terms of dates. You have ones that start in early summer and ones that only begin in very late summer. There's financial aid available for most of them, so you can even travel to them and attend for free, which is very nice and very generous of these universities. They're usually less selective than going to the actual university itself down the line. For example, for the Harvard summer program, even if they don't post rates, it's probably around 40 to 50%, which we gather from previous applicants who were successful and people who took part in organizing these programs. And they're a great way to network and improve one's chances of college acceptance. Again, down the line, we always emphasize of thinking this one step ahead with the opportunities that you take on while at high school. So this is, for example, what Harvard says, right? In answering the questions of do pre-college programs help with college admissions? They say, yes, absolutely, because they test your ability to succeed in a rigorous college course, and that is informative to admissions officers. And they also, in our experience, give you connections among professors and so on that then can become your recommenders. And that's one of the best things you can have on your application. And as a gift to you, we've compiled a summer pre-college programs list, basically ranking the best opportunities out there and giving some clarity in terms of application deadlines and in terms of how selective they are, in terms of how much they cost and whether there's financial aid available, which you can find by following through this link. So Sylvia said she's going to be sending around the presentation afterwards. In case you have trouble finding it, you can always contact us via our email or through our website that we'll share in just a second. And just to give you a little bit of an overview, what we can help you with in your journey. One is, as mentioned, navigating and finding these opportunities from summer programs to internships, to work shadowing experiences, to better discover yourself and advance yourself academically, to then all the way to applying to universities, using all that you amass in terms of work experiences, in terms of whatever projects, capstone projects that you've carried out, then putting that on to your application to Harvard, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, Sciences Po, École Polytechnique, and these wonderful institutions like TU Delft in the Netherlands, like the best schools in Germany, and so on. And in helping students make it to these very top universities, I'm pretty confident in saying that we have an unparalleled success rate. I have yet to see an organization here in Europe that could rival ours, and very few do globally. So, if you're looking for assistance in making the most of your academic life while in high school, we're here to support you, next to Sylvia, next to, all the great opportunities and organizations set out to do the same in Latvia. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to my personal email listed here or to our organizational email. And it's probably going to come back to me as well, or to post questions through the forms available on our website in case I'm not able to answer all of your questions in the end of the talk. So thank you so much again for your attention. Hopefully some of this proves useful, and good luck in your applications to these high school exchange programs.
So there is a question that asks, are any of those like college pre options are for free?
Yeah, so some of them can be, depending on whether the university offers need-based assistance. Need-based means where you specify how much assistance would your family need, and the university determines, okay, would this be a financial hardship for you to attend? And if it is, they're going to basically be paying for the entire program. Some programs will not pay for flights, but then you also have online course alternatives. And also if it's 3 weeks, probably what you'll spend on flights, then assuming that the rest is financed by the university, the meals, the boarding, that's probably what you would spend in a month living back home in Riga or elsewhere in Latvia, I imagine. So these are usually pretty good deals. Again, that's because these universities are very affluent and because these programs are selective. So they're more so looking not to make money off of you attending this program, but to really find the next cohort of future leaders that they want to take on as their students and also give them an enriching educational summer.
Then there's the question, how much do you have to pay for Atlas Academy?
So Atlas Academy, we actually have quite a few courses we offer, but basically prices range from 2,000 to 5,000 at our most expensive packages.
And what would be like included in the price? Like how long of a span of like you helping to get into those full colleges?
Oh yeah, so let me take a minute because it's quite a lot and I will not be covering everything even in that minute. But basically, our students work with mentors who are themselves current students or recent graduates of these top universities and the best performance at these universities, and are essentially 5 or 6 years down the line to where the student wants to be. And they can give the most applicable advice of here's opportunities you want to make use of, here are some pitfalls or potential challenges that you want to solve in this way or you want to avoid, so you're not repeating the mistakes that we made while we were in your shoes. Then mentors work with students to figure out work shadowing, internship opportunities. So our students already as early as 10th grade, 11th grade do internships or short work shadowing stints, sometimes also over the summer holidays at law firms, venture capital funds, banks, laser optics companies, and so on. So they get to experience what pursuing a certain field in a professional setting looks like and make more accurate decisions when it comes time to applying, especially if they're applying to European programs that require them to select basically what you're going to be studying and be binded to that choice. And then there's the entire application, which is no small feat, right? So it's developing your writing skills, it's developing your interviewing skills. And for the United States, you basically have to write 30 pages of essays if you add them all together. And these have to be at the level of New York Times opinion editorials. So you really need to perfect your skills. And that's exactly what our mentors are mostly focused on. And they're top-notch writers, studying English literature and among the top 5% in their class at Harvard or somewhere like that. So they hopefully know what they're doing. And, the results of our students indicate that their writing has advanced tremendously, their interviewing, self-presentation skills. Then there's also a lot of exciting capstone projects happening where basically students have the same passions as mentors and they get together and they might form a company or they might develop an initiative that's going to help other students, local communities, nonprofit. And then at the end of the day, some of our former students get hired as mentors. So there's, how you make that sum back pretty easily, but that's a selective process in itself. And then, there's just a lot of other opportunities that exist. And it's a kind of winding, complicated process applying to the very top universities. Applying to the remainder is sometimes pretty easy, but the very top universities are very selective, but well worth the investment. So that's what we set out to help students with.
And the last question, if a student wants to now in the summertime, like participate in some of those options, what should they do?
So they should, once they get the application from you, Sylvia, basically look through the programs. Maybe half or 2/3 of them still have applications open all the way to March. And basically, you should start writing out those questions and essays, talking to your high school counselor who can then provide a transcript and maybe a letter of recommendation, and doing all these other things that these applications ask you to do. And again, if you find yourself struggling, we're happy to help, even without a commitment to a package. If it's a few questions, me or somebody else from our organization are going to be more than happy to give you some guidance.
And the free first time meeting Jonas or one of his colleagues is for free, right?
Yes. Thank you for bringing attention to that. So basically, we do provide free 30-minute consultations in the very beginning, in which we're excited to answer questions you might have about college applications in general or choosing a career path, what it takes. Also share some valuable resources with you that could potentially help you accelerate your learning process.